have Mr. Mohammad Zohair, Field Application Engineer, who will be presenting on balancing the load of a safety critical multi-core system.
Today I am going to talk on the topic balancing the load of a safety critical multi-core system. We are active partners with tier 1s and OEMs, and our focus is safety critical software development and the multi-core architecture. Tasking provides complete development environment which allows software engineers to develop safe, reliable, and high performance application. We have products that fit into all the stages of this development V cycle. We not only have a compiler, we have a huge list of products which I am going to explain more in detail in the last slide of this presentation. So these are small agenda which I am going to cover in the next 20 minutes. What are the challenges in the multi-core computing environments, how to overcome those challenges, and how you can make use of the tasking optimization tools in order to overcome those challenges. If you see the previous decade on the automotive domain, there are a lot of advancement and improvements. And car is becoming everyday smart, safe, and intelligent. And these ECUs are running a very complex algorithm and exchanging information. And these ECUs are monitoring and facilitating the proper functioning of the mechanical parts and to make sure the car as a system is functioning properly. Even if there is a malfunctioning in any of these ECUs, whether it may be a EPS ECUs or a anti-lock braking ECUs or a airbag ECUs, this could be a fatal to a passenger, and you need to make sure the car as a system is completely fail-safe. Before that, OEMs and tier 1s have started developing these kind of ECUs application on a multiple single core processors. And now because of the availability of the multi-core processors, OEMs and tier 1s have started developing these kind of application in the multi-core. And also, this kind of complex algorithm is a very challenging task in the single core processors. And also there are a lot of advancement why OEMs and tier 1s are moving from a single core to a multi-core microcontrollers. I will show you some of the important focus points what made them to move from a single core to a multi-core processor. One is a domain consolidation where they want to reduce the microcontroller into a single device, and they want to collect all the sensors into a single microcontroller. And also they want to ease the safety architecture so that they can put higher ASILs on a dedicated course and the lower ASILs on another set of cores. So these are some strong focus points so which made them to move from a single core to a multi-core microcontrollers or a processor. If you see the automotive architectures, it consists of many CPU cores, and also it consists of ancillary cores like a timer module, security module, application processor, peripheral control module, standby controller, and all these are connected by means of a shared interconnect bus, and also it is trying to access the shared memory resources. And if you have n CPU cores, and you can think that you'll have a n times of computation capacity, and sometimes because of this shared interconnect bus and because of these shared memory resources, the performance will be suboptimal. And also if you work on this kind of a multi-core architecture, you will end up with a lot of challenges, and I will show you what all the multi-core challenges you will come across if you have these kind of architectures. The first challenge is the load balancing. If you see on this particular slide, the CPU 2 is overutilized and the CPU 0 and the CPU 1 is underutilized. Load balancing could be a serious issue in this kind of a multi-core process. And the challenge is how you can balance the load on these similar cores in order to get the best performance. And sometimes what you will think that you will move some of the functionality from one core to the other, right? It is not so simple in order to move the functionality from one core to the other. Why? Because there may be a changes in the code and you need to do a lot of repetitive testing. And in fact, you may not get the exact desired result also, unless or until you consider some of the important factors. So this is also one of the challenge where you need to see how you can balance the load on the similar cores in order to get the best performance. The other challenge is how you can optimize the load of cores and the shared resources in order to avoid the bottlenecks. For example, if you have many CPU cores, and if these CPU cores are trying to access a variable on this shared memory resource, and if the shared interconnect bus is clogged, then it may lead to a CPU stall. Consider, for example, this is an EPS electric power steering ECU, where the CPU 0 is used for reading the sensor information, and the motor control algorithm is implemented on the core CPU 1, and core CPU 2 is used for doing some kind of a redundant calculation. If the CPU 1 and CPU 2 is trying to read a sensor information from the process CPU 0, and if the shared interconnect bus is clogged, then it may also lead to a CPU stall. So that's why you need to see how you can optimize the load of cores and shared resources in order to avoid the bottlenecks. So another important multi-core challenge is, for example, if you have a decomposition of requirement to lower ASILs on various cores, so there is a chances of interference and the violation of independence. So what we try to achieve is a freedom from interference between different ASIL component as per ISO 26262. This is also one of the important multi-core challenge you need to take care of that if you work on this kind of a multi-core architecture. I had done a small case study where I want to show you how the CPU stalls negatively impact the CPU core load. I wrote a simple example in order to update an array in the DSPR of core 1, and I had make use of a Infineon Oryx 27X microcontroller clocked at 100 megahertz, and I had make use of a Erica Enterprise Autos, so running at various times, 1 millisecond, 2 millisecond, 5 millisecond, as well as a 10 millisecond. And if I try to transfer a data of 1 kilobyte, I can see there is an increase in the core load, which you can see by means of a blue color. And if I try to transfer a data of 2 kilobyte, I can see there is a huge increase in the core load of 4%. So from this slide, you can understand. So CPU stalls directly impact the CPU core load. I had just run this example on an idle system. I had not make use of any of a SPI bus or a CAN communication bus. So from this, you can see the core load increases due to the CPU stalls. Even if you see the traditional application runs on a single core, and once if you work on a multi-core processors, and how you can reuse the software in a multi-core device. So this is one of the quite common challenge you will come across. And if you work on an application which blocks each other while accessing the shared resources, and how to optimize the load on shared resources. This is also one of the quite common challenge. And if you had written the code for one application, and if you want to make use for other parallel cores, and how you can parallelize the software across same cores in order to balance the load. This is also one of the important challenge. And if you're working on a heterogeneous setup of a multi-core architecture, which requires to define and guarantee separation between same and different cores, how this can be achieved, and how to select a matching device, which is driven by cost and performance. This is also one of the quite common challenge. And if you work on a functional safety, which makes multi-core software more demanding, and how you can verify an application against a functional safety requirement, how you can automate this task, this is also one of the quite common challenge. And you know, AutoSOAR Classic platform is the first choice to implement this deterministic execution. And how to define a balance system during a development time, this is also one of the quite common challenges. And even if you see in the V cycle, the multi-core setup impacts most stages of the V cycle. Even the system software specification has to define the software timing. So they have to define the multi-core setup and the interface protocol usage. And also the high-level software architecture or the low-level software architecture, they have to define the multi-core setup. In fact, for a timing and memory constraint also. After that, it will be passed to a development phase. So once the development is done, the unit or a function testing engineer or a component testing engineer, so they will verify the low-level function is behaving logically correct or not. Then it will pass to a later stage. So this also one of the multi-core setup impacts which impacts most stages of the V cycle. So let me try to explain why you need to balance the load across cores. As you know already in the ISO 26262 manual under the section 7.4.17, so there is a request resource usage test. Resource usage testing attempts to ensure that the unit under test does not consume an excessive amount of CPU time or a memory. So let me try to explain in terms of a software perspective as well as in terms of a hardware perspective. So it is difficult to explain the maximum load of the system on your test bench using a simulation or on a lab car or on the hardware in the loop. Even the maximum load of the system when you're driving a car is completely different when compared to a simulation. So it is always good to have some kind of a buffer in reserve in order to avoid any kind of a surprises in the last minute. As you know, so development is an ongoing process. What if your system engineer comes up with a new cool feature and you want to implement this cool feature onto a microcontroller? Not to forget now, the feature is now on the software over the air updates as well as the firmware over the air updates. Always the OEMs and tier ones wants to make use of this feature in order to implement this cool feature. And that's why the OEMs and tier ones always want to have some kind of a computation capacity in reserve so that this kind of a feature can be implemented on the software over the air updates. So let me put it in a hardware perspective. So running a one core with high load means there will be a more number of tasks and or there will be a more number of function calls to that task, which increases the number of context switches. And obviously there will be an increase in the activity factor as well as the current and power consumption. This will cause the heat in one core that can lead to a heat in the thermal gradients and it will lead to a shutdown of the microcontroller. Now, these are all the two reasons which you can focus on the distributed core load. And the question is now how you can measure the system load and how you can identify the CPU stalls. Yes, we have a solution from a tasking where you can make use of a tasking optimization tool in order to measure the system load and you can identify the CPU stall by making use of these two tools. One is a multi-core performance tool where you can able to analyze the core load in terms of a minimum, maximum as well as average core load. And also by means of Autotask analysis, you can able to identify the task activations at accuracy of timer tick and you can able to analyze the interrupt execution time, task execution time. Even if you're in the decision making phase, in order to select from a multiple OSEC autos, then multi-core performance is the right tool to evaluate. And by means of an embedded profiler, you can able to analyze the performance hotspot, you can able to analyze the CPU stalls, and by means of a memory analysis, you can able to identify the instruction cache miss as well as the data cache miss, and you can analyze the inter cross core memory access. And also by means of a function analysis, you can able to identify all the function calls as well as the function returns. And both these tools are a hardware driven, it is not a software driven. And these tools are very easy to use and it is very intuitive. Just you need to provide an application L file as an input to this tasking performance optimization tool. And these two tools supports both the Oryx first generation as well as the second generation. If you are making use of an application kit, just you need to connect a USB cable in order to read the emulation memory from the Oryx device. And if you are making use of a custom board, you need to connect by means of a mini Wiggler, which is a low-cost debugger available with the Infineon. These tasking performance tools used to read the emulation memory from the Oryx devices, and these tools can be run either in one-shot mode or in the continuous mode. In one-shot mode, it will read the emulation memory until the trace buffer is full or until you stop the application. And by means of a continuous mode, you can temporarily stop the application, you can read the emulation memory, then erase the emulation memory, and you can keep continuing this process. So by making use of these two tools, so you can able to measure the system load and you can able to identify the CPU stalls. So let me show you some of the snapshots which I took from these two tools. One is a multi-core performance tool where you can see the core load analysis snapshot. So in this, you can able to see the minimum, maximum, as well as the average core load. And the load calculation is based on the idle clock time. The more the time the idle clocks gets executed, the lower is the CPU load. And also you can see, so there is a red color which detects and highlights the time slot when a core overload occurs. In fact, you can able to monitor the number of clock cycles needed to complete a task. And these tools are having a Oryx level knowledge So from this, it can able to analyze all these kind of analysis. So for the AUTOS analysis, it can able to identify the activity of the various tasks for all these cores. And in fact, you can select a time period. So from this, you can able to see the activation of this particular task. And I had selected a time period of 1 second. From this, you can see for a task 10 milliseconds, and the activation is exactly 100, which is that much of high accuracy. And if you see a function, so if you see a task of 1 millisecond, you can see the activation is 1006, which is supposed to be 1000. And these tools takes advantage of expert level ORIX architecture knowledge in order to support floor tracing, allowing the tool to provide more details on the interrupt handlers, interrupt as well as the interrupt execution time. Also, you can see the startup time is indicated by means of an unknown task, which is unknown from the OS context. And also, if you want to have a raw trace data in order to search for memory writes, which you want to identify for a task switches, you can also able to get that type of analysis. So these some of the snapshot which I took from the embedded profiler tool, where you can see the performance analysis window. So for a function 5 millisecond task, you can see what is the exact CPU clock count it has been consumed. For a function 5 millisecond task, it has consumed a 400,000 CPU clock count. And if I double click on this blue bar, it will take me to this source code under this embedded profiler window, where you can able to see the stalls which has been occurred for these lines of code. And also you can see the what are the intercore cross access. You can see it has been also highlighted by means of a red color. And if you want to know more in detail about that, you can go to a memory access tab, where you can see more in detail about the cores. You can see what is the origin CPU, what exactly it is trying to do. The CPU core 1 is trying to update an array in the DSPR2 of core 2 for this particular function. And the same way you can see the same origin CPU1 is trying to read a sensor information from a DSPR0 of core 0. So by this way, you can have a complete analysis which core is exactly trying to do which function for which function. And the same way you can see you have one more tab called a memory conflicts. If two different code trying to access the same variable at the same time, then it may lead to a memory conflicts. So from this, you can able to understand whether it's a software intended or it's a bug in your application. So by this way, and doing this kind of analysis, you can have a complete information about your course. And also by means of a function analysis, you can able to identify all the function calls as well as the function returns. And this kind of a process you need to do as a iterative process one. You need to flash it onto a microcontroller, and you need to analyze this by means of a multi-core performance tool. And if you want to dig more into the detail, you can go into the embedded profiler tool, where you can do a performance analysis, memory analysis, function analysis, all these things. So by this way, and if you want to do any kind of a code changes, then you can do that one by understanding from this kind of a tool, then write the software onto a microcontroller, understand from this tool, then make your system as a safe and secure load balance system. And also one of the cool new feature which is also available with our embedded profiler is a DMA load analysis, where you can able to analyze the load for all these channels. So in fact, you can able to analyze the minimum, maximum as well as average core load for all these channels. And you can get more in detail about the consume time, what is the clock frequencies you had set, what is the CPU clock count, all these things you can get more in detail in our new version of embedded profiler, which is available as a beta version of that. And to wrap up for this presentation, so I want to mention that by means of a tasking embedded profiler, which helps you to identify the function which takes maximum time to execute. And also by means of this embedded profiler, you can easily integrate it into a Jenkins continuous integration environment. And also if you want to automate this from a command line, you can also do that. And sometimes you want to show this kind of a result to your functional safety expert, or you want to share it with your team, you can also export this result as a raw data in the .csv format. And by means of this tasking performance tool, you can measure the CPU core load as well as the task execution time. So this is a complete information about the tasking embedded profiler as well as the tasking multi-core performance tool. So under the tasking safety ecosystem umbrella, we have tools which I extracted from our product portfolio, where you can see we have a huge list of products. One is a safety checker, where you can verify the freedom from interference between different ASIL-based software component. And also, if you want to reduce your manual inspection of code on your application, you can make use of this inspector tool, where you can able to inspect whether it is affected with any kind of a SIL issues or any kind of a compiler bugs. And also, if you want to take help from our services team for the qualification of your product, you can also get in touch with us. As I already mentioned, for a software development, we have a tool, Tasking VX toolset for a tricore, which includes a compiler, linker, locator, software debugger, and it has been developed with the ASPICE CL2 process, and it's a TUE certified, where you can develop your safety critical applications up to ASIL-D. Even if you want to verify your source code in compliance to a MISRA as well as a CERT-C, you can able to make use of our integrated static code analysis tool, which is tightly integrated in our Eclipse IDE. And even if you're working on a heavy math application or an ADAS application, if you want to make use of these qualified libraries, which is available with us, you can get in touch with us. And also we have a LAPAC performance libraries. You can also make use of that. And also we have a compiler qualification kit available for a C as well as for a C++. So in this compiler qualification kit, so we are providing a safety manual, which will help you how you can configure the tool chain for your safety related application. And also we are providing some kind of a recommended use cases, and we are providing mitigation for the software strategies errors. And we'll also give you our tasking issues portal login, where you can able to see what all the existing issues available and how you can mitigate that one. And we'll also give you access to our scripts and instruction, how to validate the qualification of the software tool qualification method. Last but not the least, we also have a pin mapper for a hardware configuration, which completes our complete tasking product portfolio. And if you want to get more in detail about that, you can keep following us on our LinkedIn profile, where our marketing is more active to put more updates on this LinkedIn. And also, if you want to know more in detail about that, you can keep watching us on the event section of our website. And if you need any kind of evaluation for these products, whatever the things which I had shown you in the previous slide, you can drop us an email at sales@tasking.com. And we have a team of FEs available globally in order to help you out on your evaluation and also on the integration with your application. Thank you.